Next, we want to sew the pattern and fit it onto the avatar. To do so, first I'm going to move this pattern up here and then come over here to this 3D toolbar and click on this Reset 2D Arrangement All. And then I'm going to right click. We want to freeze that pattern and hide 3D pattern. Okay, now I'm going to come over here to this display menu and select the show or hide arrangement point. We want to place that front pattern first. Simply click right here to place, and then the sleeve pattern, and now the back pattern. After that, let's just hide that show arrangement point. It is a little bit distracting, and move it out. Next, we want to sew this pattern. I will use the segment sewing tool first. Simply click and then sew, and then we want to sew the shoulders to shoulder. After that, I will switch the tool to free sewing tool here. And I'm going to click one right here to start. Hover the mouse to the right, click one to end. Then press on shift and click one right here from the front pattern. Click once again to end. And then now we're going to sew to this back pattern here. And then click one to end. Then release the shift. And in this case, I'm going to just click one and hover the mouse down here. The same right here, down here. That is perfect. After that, I'm going to make a copy. Simply use the transform pattern tool, marquee select all the patterns, right click, and select symmetric pattern with sewing. And let's zoom in, press on shift, click one to place the pattern. Next, we'll sew this back pattern shut. Simply use the segment sewing tool and also the front here. After that, I'm going to strengthen that pattern. Then come over here. We want to simulate and stop the simulation. There are a few more things here we will do to see how the pattern fits. First of all, we'll apply the fabric. Simply come over here and I'm going to type in muslin. So that is the first draft. I'm going to drag it onto the fabric there. And let's simulate again and stop the simulation. And let unstrengthen here. So this is how the pattern fit. So I'm going to simply come over here to this fitting map and I'm going to show you how the pattern fit. So if we click on the stretch map, strain map, however, right here, this is kind of what we want. So we want kind of loose fitted up here, but at the same time, we want it right here to stay kind of snug. And after that, I'm going to turn that off and we are going to do a couple things here to give this top a finished look. We want to apply the fold and create facing for the front and back pattern. First, let's go over here to this edit pattern tool and I'm going to remove this point, we don't need it. And I'm going to click one right here, press on shift, click one right here and right here. Right click, we want to select offset pattern outline. And I'm going to change that value to 3 centimeter. Then come down here, we want to select create internal lines and perpendicular perfect. I'm going to click on OK. After that, we want to simply offset this line right here so we can sew the hem. And go to offset internal line. And then I'm going to type in here the value of 6 centimeter. Then I'm going to uncheck this extend box right here and then click on OK. Next, we want to offset internal line here. Simply click right here to start and then click right here, right click, and I want to select offset as internal line and the value here, gonna change that to 3 and select this extend box once again and then click on OK. Next, we want to fold this, okay? To fold it, first of all, let me strengthen this pattern, okay? And let's come over here. We want to turn on this show internal line here so we can simply fold this. I will use this fold arrangement tool, click on it to select, then click one right here. Simply drag and bring it up. And then I'm going to come over here to the property editor and then change that fold angle to 0 and then turn on fold rendering. I will do the same with this back pattern. Simply drag it up and then change the fold angle to 0 and then fold rendering box is on. We'll do the same with sleeve. Click one right there, simply drag it in, fold it up, change the fold angle to 0 and then fold rendering box is on. And after that, I'm going to click on the simulation icon to simulate. After that, let's hide this avatar here. And let's see if we need to update the sewing. Yep, we're going to sew right here. Simply use the segment sewing tool. and then click right here to sew. So next we're going to sew the hem. Simply use that segment sewing tool and then continue sewing the hem. Perfect. And let's simulate this again. Okay, the sleeve, we have a little bit tangle here. Let me check the sleeve. Okay, we kind of twisted the sleeve. I'm going to press on the command or control plus letter B to reverse that sewing, and then simply simulate once again, and now it works perfect. So next we are going to create the facing. To create the facing, we have two options. We can either create the facing from here using the trace tool, or we're going to create the facing in the simplest way. So simply select the transform pattern tool, click one right here on the front pattern, and click right here, and then right click, and we want to select layer clone under, and I'm going to simply press on shift, click one to place the pattern. Next, I'm going to unlink this pattern. Simply my key selects all these pattern here, right click, and then remove link editing. After that, I'm going to my key select all that pattern once again, right click, and then select symmetric pattern with sewing. After that, I'm going to simply click on this internal line, right click, and cut this pattern. I will do the same right here, right click, and then select cut. Let's remove this pattern because we don't need them, as well as here. Now let's move them up here, and I'm going to remove all the sewing from the facing, and then I will use this segment sewing tool to resew the pattern. After that, I'm going to strengthen them as well and simulate one more time to see the effects. This time I'm going to come over here and then select hide this internal line for now and unstrengthen the pattern so we get to see the pattern better. So looks like we have some sewing issue here. So right here, the sewing kind of bunched up here. So we're gonna move that down here. I'm going to unstrengthen and see how the pattern fit onto the avatar.